Namaste, Jai Bharat. I have a 2 minutes video of Prime Minister Benjamin.
I have a message for President Macron. Today, Israel is defending itself on 7 fronts against the enemies of civilization. We're fighting in Gaza against Hamas, those savages who murdered, raped, beheaded, and burned out people on October 7th. We're fighting in Lebanon against Hezbollah, the most heavily armed terror organization in the world, which was planning an even greater massacre than October 7th on our northern border, and that has rocketed Israeli towns and cities for nearly a year. We're fighting against the Houthis in Yemen and the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria that together have launched hundreds of drones and missile attacks against Israel. We're fighting against terrorists in Judea and Samaria who are trying to murder civilians in the heart of our cities. And we're fighting against Iran, which last week fired over 200 ballistic missiles directly at Israel, and which stands behind the 7-front war against Israel. As Israel fights the forces of barbarism led by Iran, all civilized countries should be standing firmly by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them. Is Iran imposing an arms embargo on Hezbollah, on the Houthis, on Hamas, and on its other proxies? Of course not. The axis of terror stands together. But countries who supposedly oppose this terror axis call for an arms embargo on Israel. What a disgrace. Well, let me tell you this. Israel will win with or without their support. But their shame will continue long after the war is won. For in defending ourselves against this barbarism, Israel is defending civilizations against those who seek to impose a dark age of fanaticism on all of us. Rest assured, Israel will fight until the battle is won, for our sake and for the sake of the peace and security of the entire world. I have a message.
I think you all heard what Mr. President or Prime Minister has to say. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think he speaks very genuinely. Let's look at the things. Spread the incidents on a table. Sit and look at it, how and why. Leave alone the biblical background. Leave alone the biblical background or the biblical predictions. Let's talk about what happened recently. First of all, the proxy army, proxy military. Neither Hamas belongs to a nation, nor Hezbollah belongs to a nation, nor Houthis belongs to a nation. There are terrorist outfits, very explicitly and clearly, terrorist outputs with generally one objective with multiple interests. One objective, but very self-seeking kind of objective, in the sense that each one wants to be at the top of things. What he speaks is correct. Take his perspective. What he speaks is correct. He is fighting for civilized world and civilized existence. A few people, terrorists, are attempting to destroy civilization. That's what he says. And the present scenario, how did it all begin? Suddenly the Hamas enters into Israel and attacks 7th of last year, October. You know that story. Then the whole thing starts. Then Hezbollah, who really has nothing directly to do with Israel prima facie, started attacking. Houthis started attacking. Above all, of course, everyone knows that behind is Iran, though no one is acknowledging. Then they were sending ballistic missiles, not simple missiles, ballistic missiles. These people, they have to defend themselves, and the only method of defense against these people are offense. The defensive steps are offensive steps. There is no way out for them. And then the issue which he's addressing now is that arms embargo against Israel, someone has called, and some people know who at the cost of civilization, in the name of civilization, but at the cost of civilization, are speaking for an arms embargo. It wouldn't work much. That's another thing. Many people in the world do not dare openly support Israel for displacing someone, but they do indirectly or implied kind of things. They really have to, if they really have to survive, they really have to fight. This is as clear as that. So, I think what he speaks is absolutely sense. He speaks sense. They have no other way. Arms embargo, he is evidently angry or upset, not really upset, he is evidently angry. They really have to survive. And of course, one or two premises we have to understand and agree with. It's true that they are fighting against destroyers of civilization, destroyers of peace. And in spite of whatever talks are done, the actions are entirely diagonally opposite to it. So I think one should understand the situation, and one should be in support of them, whatever we can do in our little possible ways. So till we meet again, Namaste, Jai Bharat and Jai Siya Ram.